The National Bank of Rwanda, according to some people, you choose what you call it, central bank, the National Bank of Rwanda, Beneri. Yes, this is the regulator of all the financial institutions in the country. And we have a senior inspector in the microfinance department. His name is Hubert Hira, who is joining us here for the conversation on understanding the role, the mandate of Beneri in supervising microfinance sector. Hubert, welcome to Kigali in the morning today.
Yeah, thank you, JC. Thank you, Juliana.
Is your name mentioned as Hubert or Herbert?
It's Hubert.
Hubert.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Good to have you here in the studio. I think it's the first time I'm talking to you. I don't know about Juliana. You've met somewhere?
No, it's my first time seeing you.
You know, for Juliana, she's met almost all the important people. For some reasons.
Let's just focus on the
Yeah?
conversation.
Hubert, just give us a bit of how has the use of technology, let's start there. I know that the central bank is trying to be a digital first institution. There's been a lot of transformation happening at the central bank. How has the use of technology helped improve the daily services provided by or provided to SACCO members?
Yeah, thank you, JC. With this era of digitalization, technology era, so the technology has played a significant role in transforming the services delivered to SACCO members. With the automation of SACCOs, but specifically these Umurenje SACCOs, these were at the sector level, there's a pretty significant role in members to access faster, safer, and more inclusive financial services than never before, comparing to how it was in the manual operation. In the beginning of 2024, we did a survey for the automated U-SACCOs. When I say U-SACCOs, Umurenje SACCOs, what you saw was that there have been a significant reduction in time taken in service delivered. So, for instance, look at time taken for deposit or cash withdrawal. Before automation, it was an average of 7 minutes. But with the automation, they significantly reduced to 2 minutes. So you can see that it plays significant role. And again, on the side of SACCOs, operational activities, automation improved or helped them to reduce the risk of fraud compared to the weaknesses which were existing in the manual operation, feeding the books, members' card, passbook. So you can see that it played a significant role.
It does.
Okay, allow me to just take you a little back, and I'm going to ask you to directly face the microphone because I want to have an angle where I keep you on record. Where we say it's a SACCO, and then there are banking institutions, and then everything we're trying to do is to arrive at financial inclusion. Where does a SACCO start? Where does it end?
Both are financial institutions, because financial institution has a broad category. So now, when you talk of the microfinance institutions, we mean those financial institutions that provide financial services to those low-income earners or underserved population. So we mean those who are not get financial services from these commercial banks. Now, for microfinance institutions, we have two categories. So we have those which are companies, public limited companies, and you have cooperatives. So that's under cooperatives, you have those SACCOs, savings and credit cooperatives. So specifically for Umurenje SACCOs, because under cooperatives you have Umurenje SACCOs, those which were formed as per government initiatives are in 2008, but you also have other savings and credit cooperatives which were not formed as per government initiatives. So for these U-SACCOs or Umurenje SACCOs, they were formed after realizing that there has been a gap in financial inclusion. That I'm talking about the financial Finscope survey, which was done in 2008, which realized that only 21% of adult population were formally included or were getting financial services in a formal way. So with that, the government took initiatives to facilitate the population to form their own SACCOs so that they can get financial services in the best way without taking too much time looking for financial services. So they formed sector-wise savings and credit cooperatives.
Okay. I think now when I move around the streets, I am seeing different outlets which are labeled microfinance. More like a small bank. There's one I see around Sonatib, and they clearly put their services. They offer credit and stuff like that. You have the youth SACCOs, which you call the Omrenje SACCOs. Then there's these microfinances, which look like a bank. They are not a cooperative. And I know you do not agree on the principle of Lambert. Are these microfinance institutions which are lending money, and they are not banks, they are not commercial banks, under what protocols did they start to operate?
In fact, for microfinance institutions, we have deposit-taking microfinance institutions. So,
Not credit.
and you have non-deposit taking. For deposit taking, they collect deposit from the clients. But those we are talking about, they offer on lending, so they do not collect deposit. So they are owners, they are shareholders, they bring their own money, then they provide loans to the clients. So there are two types. You have deposit taking, microfinance institution, and non-deposit taking.
Was that a direct way of saying, let's formalize Lamberting?
It's not that. It's not that. You see, when
In a documented manner, maybe.
To be able to regulate.
when the economy is developing, you have to look around to make the population get the financial services at the easiest way. So, for regulatory purpose, so the central bank provided regulations for non-deposit taking. In fact, in terms of regulation, laws and regulation directives, they differ, depends on the category. So that segment is a separate segment. I am from the deposit taking microfinance institution, where we see those SACCOs and other companies, those you are talking about, you see on the road. Yeah.
Interesting. Getting back to the conversation then, what key changes will members experience when their Umurenje SACCO becomes a branch of the district SACCO?
Yeah, so that's it's a reform. It's an ongoing reform. It's a big project. It's a consolidation project. We are consolidating those Umurenje SACCOs from sector based to district level. So it's a good reform in fact, because it's intended to professionalize the service, to improve their governance, but also enhance their financial stability. So among the key changes now we're talking about is in terms of service delivery first, because before consolidation, members were only receiving services at the sector where they have opened their accounts. But now with the consolidation, a member is able to get services in any branch in a district.
Okay.
Yeah, for instance, if maybe I'm from Majirajiri sector, I do not need to carry a bag of money when I'm traveling to Nyabugogo to make some shoppings. I do not need that. I just need to go at the nearest branch in Nyarugenge district, I make a withdrawal, then I do my shoppings. So with that, you can see that it's a major change. And the initiative is that after the consolidation, the whole consolidation, now the initiative is that a member will be able to get services across the country, regardless of where he or she has opened the account. That's one. Second, the major change is in terms of product. For instance, loans. Members are able now to receive flexible and larger loan amounts. You can say why. At the central bank, we have one of prudential norms, which we call single obligor limit, to which we provide the maximum amount of loan a member can have. It's a percentage of deposits, depending on the amount of deposits. At the sector level, you can see the amount of deposit the sector has, the SACCO has. It was not too much. So if you take 2.5% of that deposit, so in some of the sector, member were not even able to have a loan of 20 million. But now with the consolidation at district level, their deposit are consolidated. Now a 2.5% of that deposit, it's now huge, indicating that members are able now to receive a big amount of loan to finance their project. That's another
Okay, Juliana, before you run in to ask questions, because I know you have several, let me speak for the young people that I am. How do you respond to youth who are saying that SACCOs are not designed for modern entrepreneurs? You see, the Gen Zs do things differently, and they are also trying out different initiatives to play amongst the other existing players. They say that these SACCOs favor farmers, they ignore tech, creatives, and urban hustlers. Basically, the young people are not seeing themselves in this SACCO movement.
Yeah, that's an interesting question for sure. But when we talk about ignorance of technology, that's not true, because currently or Umurenye circles, they are automated. So with that automation, it's a good basis that digital financial services will be offered. For instance, there was a pilot of push and pull services among 47 youth circles, and it was successful. That's indicated that with digitization, these circles are able now to offer a broad range of digital services. So what I can say to the youth, circles are not meant for farmers. They're not meant for farmers, so they have to engage. They have to engage to go and get financial services and get finances for their project.
Actually, by just mentioning circles, you see, even my mother belongs to Achibina. For a young person, when you hear circle, you would hear of
automatically
an
think
old-fashioned setting where people go to pick some small money to help themselves.
which is not true. That means there's anyway. I think there needs to be a lot of sensitization about that. Again, that's now takes me back to my next question. What are your thoughts on how can we continue to reach people who are not yet using financial services or are still using them at a minimal level, like what Josie was saying?
Yeah, that's the major thing is a continuous financial literacy programs, because people they first have to understand. They have to understand what the financial services they need, how do they operate, what will be the cost. So it's a matter of financial literacy programs, but also for these circles just to a continuous focus on those priority segments, so that people they can come and engage to get financially served. That's what I can say.
You know, you'd want to imagine that because you've just mentioned something very important, that to continuously engage in that particular segment. But you would find a very ambitious circle wants to evolve into some kind of a commercial bank. Would you stop that as a regulator?
No, you cannot stop that, because it's dependent on their business model. And from that model, they have a prioritization. They have products which are tailored depending on the members' needs. So what they have to just bring products which are tailored to different needs of the clients or members.
Very interesting. How would you stop a circle to turn into a bank if they have whatever it takes? I don't think the central bank would stop that, right?
So it depends.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process.
Okay,
It's a
so
process
how
depending on the nature of their nature,
Yeah.
and the nature of their members or clients.
How is financial education being scaled in rural areas where many SACCO members still don't understand interest rates, saving rules, or loan penalties?
Yeah, you see, when talking about this financial institution, we talk about financial inclusion. So you cannot talk about financial inclusion and you ignore the financial educations. They go hand in hand, because if people are financially included, but there are no financial education, that can be it can bring to some poor decision over indebtedness or wrong usage of the borrowed funds. Hence, the financial education is very, very, very important, because people they have to understand, if I'm going to take a loan now, am I going to use it for the purpose I requested it for? They have to understand that concept, because it avoids the issues of non-performing. So now, for financial educations, all those financial literacy programs, as I said earlier, with also this radio show, this radio program like this one. This is a part of financial education.
Sure.
So this financial literacy program is it's a continuous program for people to understand the financial services.
It's about 26 minutes to 10 o'clock. In the studios, we're speaking to Hubert Hira. He's a senior inspector in the microfinance department at the National Bank. We are talking about the role and mandate of the National Bank in supervising the microfinance sector. I want us to go to a deeply seated question of exploitation. And I think this is where you run first as a central bank. To put your ears to the ground and know that there could be exploitation where you say the interest rates, what do you call it? There's that something you announce and say that it has been placed at this much. Lending rate, I don't know which other rate. And then, I don't know in the circles if this is something they hear and internalize. You go to Musanze, you get there to a circle, interest rate is different. You go to Kabuga, the circle there is also putting different interest rates. Towards the borders, the DRC, they say go after mafarang, bakasha interest rate hejuru. What do you do as the central bank? Is there a policy mechanism in place to protect borrowers from exploitation, these lending practices?
Yeah, that's a very important question. For the varying interest rate, that's how to be. The interest rate cannot be the same. Why? Because SACCOs, they also acquire resources to be able to offer loans. Now, when you talk about that interest rate, it has different components. You may find in one SACCO the interest rate maybe is 17, another it is 20, another it is 18. They have a range of factors. One is that cost of fund. Where did I get, or did the SACCO get the finance to be able to deliver loans to its members? That's one factor.
Hubert, can I also just get this clear? So SACCOs get money from commercial banks? Or they use the savings for the members?
Normally, the major source of fund for SACCOs, they are deposit
from
their members. Exact. That, and this is the cheapest source. No, but if the members contribute or they have regular saving, that culture of savings, their SACCOs has a lot of deposit from which they used to offer loans. But if the deposits are not enough,
they have to source elsewhere.
Extra. Exactly.
And those banks have different percentages of loans.
Exactly.
So do you want to say that if the money has been collected from members and that is what is being used, you could be in a SACCO and actually borrow at 5%. But in August, should the resources be exhausted and they go to a commercial bank to pick resources, the interest rate could go up to 17%.
No, that's not the case, because for SACCOs, they have a tariff depending on the product. So a SACCO cannot always bring those changes in terms of pricing. They have a tariff indicating product A. These are the costs, A, B, C, D. But in those costs, particularly for the interest rate, that cost of fund, it is incorporated. Now, the risk factor, depending on the nature of the members they are serving, and again, the operational costs, because SACCO is still operating, and also a factor of profit, because it has to have some kind of margin to continue to sustain. So all those factors, if you contribute to them now, they came up with the interest rate. But those exploitative lending practices now for members, that's now where the central bank comes in. At the central bank, there is a financial service consumer protection law. In that law, all financial institutions, they are requested to act in a transparent manner when they are communicating to financial service consumers about their product and services they offer. So in that transparency, one of the components, there is disclosure of interest rate to the clients. So for SACCOs, now they have to disclose that interest rate to the members. So, and members have to request, if I'm going to request a loan, you are telling me that the interest rate is this one. So what is included in that interest rate, so that a member can know exactly
What
the
they're paying
cost, exactly the cost of that amount of loan they are going to request for.
Interesting. So here I see the central bank has to intervene. There's something I pick from the commercial banks. I think that there is a mandatory fee they must have as a minimum base, right, before they can function. I'm forgetting the term for that. There's an amount of money they must have
as a commercial bank.
as a commercial bank before
To
they
get the
even open
license.
to start.
Yeah.
I think that
That's
also
the capital.
yes,
Yes.
that crosses into forex bureaus. They must have a certain amount of money. Now, to the SACCOs where members are contributing money, do they have a threshold, a certain amount of money that they must have at any one time before they are official registered as a SACCO?
Yeah, for deposit taking, there is a capital minimum capital requirement. For these circles, minimum capital requirement it's 100 million Guarani francs.
If you don't have it, you forget.
While for companies, it's 1 billion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1 billion. So for if SACCOs or members, they have to contribute. They have to contribute depending on the share, because for this cooperative, they offer members have shares. So with the value of their share, they have to indicate that it's minimum. It's 100 million Guarani francs. Yeah, when they are acquiring a license from the central bank.
So these youngins who have 50, they cannot form a SACCO. Who have 25 million.
The told you SACCO is minimum of 100.
It's 100 million. That's the minimum.
I know I've always seen people coming together, and I think it's encouraged. I don't know if it's encouraged by the capital markets, that people can come and pool funds and create Ichibina. Even at work, we have, I think, these things in different institutions where people are pooling funds in the same basket. Does that have to wait for 100 million to be a full SACCO?
Exactly. If they want to be so, they have to level up their
For you to have
capital.
a certificate.
Yeah. But for
when it's
tontines,
lower,
we cannot because when we talk about the minimum capital requirement, and we are talking about this foundation, because it's like a foundation a SACCO or a financial institution is built on. Now it's on startup phase. How it's going to operate? How are we going to learn while it's still at
Sustainability
exactly.
as well.
So they have to contribute. So in the central bank perspective, currently it's 100 million requirements.
yeah,
minimum
but my question is, when we've not yet made 100, are we illegal to even think that we are starting, we're putting funds together before we are, making 100 million? But at least we have 24.
Yeah, for the capital, there are different. As I said, under non-deposit taking, there's a broad range of categories from which those kind of people they can go and register, because the capital
And
value
keep upgrading.
Exactly,
So,
capital
so
value.
their money is still valid, which
Yes,
is
it
less than
depends.
100.
Yes, it depends. It depends. It depends on what they want to get license for.
Okay.
If there are a large number of people, they want to open a savings and credit cooperative for a deposit taking savings and credit cooperative, minimum it's 100. But if they have 50, it may depend on other categories from non-deposit taking. Yeah. The capital varies.
Which office is that in the central bank where they have to come and declare themselves that they are trying to pull
This
funds?
has,
Yeah,
a,
this is
this
not-
has a group of his friends who have got
it's not-
that 50 million that is stressing them.
It's not only even need to come to the central bank.
Yes.
At the central bank, we have a portal which we call e-correspondences,
Okay.
where all services of the
Are
central
there.
bank, they are there. So they can go in, then navigate it for the page of non-deposit taking. They can see different ranges of
Requirements, okay.
requirements. They can even go to the central bank website, read some different regulations particular to that. Then they can get where they can fit in depending on the capital they have, capital in place.
Let's talk about disgruntled members of a SACCO. When members have a genuine complaint, maybe a delayed loan or unfair treatment, what real channels exist for them to seek justice and get action?
Yeah, that's also another good question. For customer complaints or members' complaints, what you advise them is first to engage their SACCOs. First engage, they load their complaint to their SACCOs, the management of the SACCO, they discuss, they claim. Now, for the feedback, if they not get a response, that customer complaint law, it provides 15 days. Within 15 days, or if the feedback provided is unsatisfactory, now they can escalate that complaint to the central bank. So at the central bank, we have a platform which is called Inhumunga Chatbot. Inhumunga Chatbot.
Okay.
Now they can log their complaint to the central bank. They can also use text message through 6005. Then they can also lodge their complaint to the central bank.
And they are fully protected, not to be kicked out of the circle.
Exactly. They're fully
because
protected, for sure. They're fully protected.
Yes, Juliana.
Mine is just something that more totally different. What specific reforms has the National Bank of Rwanda introduced to strengthen the oversight and the governance within the SACCOs, especially after past financial mismanagement scandals that happened?
Yeah, there have been those cases of embezzlement, but the major cause of that was poor governance, exactly. Poor governance and weak internal control system. Now, at the central bank, what the central bank did was just to improve or enhance that governance aspect of those SACCOs. How, in March 2023, central bank issued a regulation on corporate governance for deposit-taking microfinance institutions. In that regulation, SACCOs, they were required now to incorporate independent directors in their board. So when we talk about independent, that means a person who is not rated, has any kind of relationship with that SACCO. So 1/3 of the board members have to be independent directors. And again, in the SACCO's organs, they have what you call supervisory committee or supervisory board. So that board is mainly made of 3 people. So now that regulation provides that the chairperson of that board must also be independent director. That's one of the reform. And again, others are regular capacity building for corporate governance aspect for SACCO staff and elected leaders.
You see, there are some sharp people, and when I hear stories such as embezzlement in a SACCO in Rwanda, for me, for some reason, it feels strange that there is a Rwandan who can actually get people's funds, embezzle, and disappear. Now, here's the question. These reports have been there in the news of mismanagement, of embezzlement in a few SACCOs here and there. And what is the central bank doing, rebuilding public trust in these grassroots financial institutions? Because they are needed for everyone to be fully included.
Yeah, as I say, it's in Leo sense, you may wonder how a person may go and take some funds, means for members and
people's hard-earned money.
Exactly. So that's the issue of integrity issues of people, which is hard
which you have no control over.
Exactly. But also, other concern I've observed was that the internal control process was so weak. So, though those cases happens, what the central bank did was to ensure that no one of the members has lost a penny of their deposit. No member has lost even a single coin of their deposit. So that was the first thing, so that members, they can continue to trust their savings and credit cooperatives. So other things with this automation now, internal control system was enhanced with this automation of SACCOs, because with the automation now you can be able to trace the history of the transaction, who initiated, who reviewed the transaction, and who approved the transactions. Yeah.
Interesting. I think we will be coming to an end of this conversation shortly. We've spoken about specific reforms that the National Bank has introduced, but again, how does the current SACCO policy align with Rwanda's broader national strategy for financial inclusion? Particularly now we're looking at a Vision 2050. I'm happy and glad I've been there at Vision 2020. I've been there Vision 2030. Now we've gone to 2050. How does the policy play within that spectrum?
Yeah, with the Vision 2050, it has different pillars. Among the pillars, there's one pillar which is competitiveness and integration. So that is the one is ambition to be a developed country that relies on its ability to enhance competitiveness at macro and micro level. So in that particular pillar of competitiveness and integration, there is some of the priorities. So Among the priorities, there is one of the priority which is universal access to financial services. So that means ability of individuals, businesses, regardless of their income levels, gender, location, to have access to a broad range of financial services, affordable and appropriate financial services that meet their needs. So now that's how now the circle comes in. When we talk about financial inclusion, as I said earlier, in that result of FinScope survey of 2008, the percentage was at 21%. But with the recent survey of last year, 2024, now the percentage has increased up to 96% of adult population who are formally included. So you can see that policy of SACCO contribute a lot in arriving at that particular ambition, that particular pillar of Vision 2050.
I want to call you the product owner, because somebody introduced to us that title. Now at Beneri, you are the owner of these microfinance institutions. Are you happy with the progress that is being made?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, we are happy. We are happy. The progress is being good compared to previous years. Yeah, every year we see good progress, both in terms of inclusion, in terms of the financial stability position of these circles. For sure, the central bank is very happy, and we keep on doing a lot so that we can maintain the stability of these financial institutions.
In this talk of digital economy, these microfinances, are you able to monitor in real time what is happening in the institutions, or that is still a gap?
Yes. At the central bank, we have platforms which we are able to monitor in terms of data.
Without relying on reports from the institutions.
Yes, we are able to monitor. Yeah.
Speaking to Hubert Hira, he's a senior inspector in the microfinance department at the National Bank of Rwanda. Just this morning, understanding the role and mandate of the National Bank in supervising microfinance sector. Thank you so much, Hubert, for making the time to be with us this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Juliana.
You're welcome. Come back again, please.
For sure.
Yes, it's 9 minutes until 10 o'clock in the morning.
Niko kapita, ibintu byanjye bigize nje nawe zari kontara dufitanye wa mugabo. Ndakubaza airport yanjye igeze he? Iki kibuga se kari icya leta, wowe urambaza iki? Yewe noneho si iki kibuga gusa, mfite imihanda, ibitaro, amashuri. Iyi stade yuzuye ejo bundi nayo burya ni yanjye. Yayo ariko muze kwitwerera koko. Ya papa none se sha ntabyuzi. Uruko nsabye facture ya IBM mba ntanga umusanzu wanjye mu kubaka u Rwanda. Nibyo koko buri gihe uko usabye facture ya IBM utanga umusanzu wawe mu kubaka u Rwanda. Kanda akagegeri 800 urwego wiyandikishe mu bahabwa ishimwe kuri TVA, aho usubizwa 10% kuri TVA yayo wishyuye. Ushobora kandi no gutsindira agera kuri miliyoni 50 buri kwezi muri Tenga Promo. Saba facture ya IBM